understand. You know, they don't need explanations. A lot of people don't need explanations, but they need to know that something's changed. And a lot of times the way that they know that is through, you know, through behavior and watching that and knowing that that's going to be there. I did not actually get invited to one of my friends' weddings because they didn't think that I was going to come. They didn't know that I was going to come. And I get invited to everything now. And I make sure that I'm saying yes to at least 75% of it. I don't turn down wedding invitations because they're important. Maybe not necessarily to me, but they're important to someone. And I value those relationships more than I value the relationship with my eating disorder, which I am trying diligently to break off right now. You know, it's, you know, I'm going to a cottage in July. You know, at one point, a couple months ago, I wasn't sure I would be able to because I was having trouble at night. But it doesn't matter. You know, you can tell your friends and tell the people around you as much as they need to know, not anymore, or you can tell them everything. It doesn't matter. They care about you. They don't care about your eating disorder, and they're willing to put up with your eating disorder as long as they know that it's not permanent. As long as they know it's on the way out, they're totally up for tolerating it. And so there's a whole bunch we can talk about here. Like, we can talk about how to get around food, we can talk about how to get around body image issues, we can talk about a whole bunch. But basically, the best way to get around social isolation is to increase and expose yourself. Not like take your clothes off, expose yourself, like expose yourself to the situation as often as you can, first in little tiny increments, and reward yourself after. You know, if you like to read magazines, and that's something that, you know, you don't usually allow yourself to do, then go get yourself a magazine while you read your copy. You know, these are big steps, and don't let anybody undermine them. They're really big steps, and you're so courageous for taking them. But at the same time, people aren't going to understand, but most people are okay with not understanding. And that's where people with eating disorders are different. We need to understand everything. But most people are okay if they don't understand. And you just say, you know, I'm having a hard time, just let me be, and they're okay with that. But yeah, basically, to minimize the social isolation, a lot of times it's really, really important that you're exposing yourself to that situation, whether it be for small, tiny little increments of time, and you increase that and increase that and increase that. I started this like 3 years ago, and my big goal right now is to go away to a cottage for 4 days. Okay, it's not an overnight process at all, but it is possible. And like I said, it's the only thing I've come across in this whole thing that gets easier. As for, you know, other sort of types of situations, I'm not sure. I'd have to kind of think about exactly which situation people are talking about. But yeah, it's very much like, it's almost like you're a child and you're afraid to wander away from mom, or from mom and from dad, except that your eating disorder is your mom and your dad. Your eating disorder controls you so much that you're afraid to do anything without it. And interacting with other people requires that you leave your eating disorder behind. So yeah, it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of praise and a lot of validation. You know, definitely look to here to get that. One of the things I think would be so awesome would start as like a goal group where everybody who wants to join or whatever puts up their goals, and we all decide that that's what we're going to do for the week. I think that would be really awesome. But yeah, a lot of times people find interacting on the internet a lot easier too. I know that's how I started. Very much. A lot of the relationships that I have on the internet are a lot closer than any of the relationships I have in my life. That's okay, but your relationships on the internet can't replace those in your life. So yeah, definitely that's an outlet. Just every opportunity, seize it. Every opportunity to not be by yourself with your eating disorder, take advantage of it. The more people you have that you're interacting with on a daily basis, even if it's on a computer, the less strong your eating disorder is. That's the fact of the matter. And if you're relapsing, make sure that the very last thing you let go of are those relationships that you forged in recovery, are those relationships that you've, improved in your recovery. Just don't let go of them, because as long as you're connected to life and to other people, your eating disorder doesn't have the power it wants. And yeah, so that's my thing on the social isolation thing. I think it's really, really worth talking about. A lot of people with eating disorders have a body dysmorphia or a body image distortion, which can lead to a lot of social anxiety. A lot of social situations revolve around food, which can also lead to a lot of anxiety. So yeah, it's hard. It's not at all easy, because there are so many different facets and so many different dimensions, and you have anxiety coming from like 6 different places. But the anxiety that you're feeling is not because the social interaction and the social situation is bad for you. It's because it's bad for your eating disorder. The more socially active you are, the more socially interacted you are, or interaction you do, the better off you are, and the less powerful your eating disorder is. The anxiety here is not a bad thing. So just, that's one of those times where you go, okay, thank you, brain. I really appreciate that you have warned me about the situation, but I've decided there's nothing dangerous, and go ahead and take chances, and you know what? They're the chances that pay off. These chances are the ones that pay off more than a lot of the ones that you do in eating disorder recovery. Okay, I'm probably going to run a really short time at this point. So I hope to see you next week, and hopefully Elaine will join us again, and take care, everyone.